What's up, family? Hey, today I'm doing a video for you guys, a lot of you educated people out there. This one, I'm going to title it Rolex Watch. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, a Rolex watch. You know how a lot of us, we see these rappers, these entertainers, they wear their Rolex watches. And a lot of us, well, a lot of people, because I don't get caught up in that, but a lot of people watch these videos and watch these shows with these performers, and they see them with a Rolex watch, and they think, oh man, I want to get a Rolex watch. They're willing to even go so far as to buy fake Rolex watches. We're familiar with these type of people. They go out and get these goofy, giant, big watches with all the fake diamonds around it, and then they tell people, yo, this is real, when you know doggone well you bought that watch on the corner with the guy who's selling a pack of socks. He's selling watches. Really? But this is what people do. People love living fake lives and stuff. But anyway, I'm going to give you a story about a Rolex watch and the value of it, really, for you to really understand where's your mind at when we talk about a Rolex watch. And what it's going to touch, how I'm going to do that is through this book here, one of my favorite books. This is like a trilogy / maybe I think we even the fourth book. This one's called Resurrecting Midnight. Now, I'm not going to give you the whole story of this book, but what I'm just going to lead up to the story about this Rolex watch. And it's going to be dealing with and in this book, they're dealing with a lot of clandestine ops. Now, I always give you a word of the day. So the word of the day is clandestine. If you look up the word clandestine, it basically means secret or to keep secret. So when I say clandestine ops, a lot of secret operations that they're doing. Now, anyway, I'm getting to the Rolex. I want y'all to stay focused. You're going to love the story. You're going to really love the story when it gets to the Rolex. But I got to lead you up to it so you can have a better understanding. So here we go. Now, what this has to do with all the books that lead up to this last one was how Gideon, he's the main character. He's an assassin. He goes all over the world with these different operations of killing people by all different means. He's a very physical guy. He's very good with combat, with his hands, with karate. He's very good with the guns, artillery, and all that stuff. I actually thought Michael J. White would be really good to play this role if he was to hook up with Eric Jerome Dickey and get the rights to this. And I thought that would be great for them to do a movie. But who knows? But anyway, back to what I'm saying. So Gideon, throughout all this combat, it's a guy named Scams who's sending them on this particular venture that they got to go on. And turns out Gideon really has a real repugnant, he don't like Scams. And the reason he don't like him because Scams is not the original. Scams is actually the son of the other guy named Scams, which he died in another book called Thieves' Paradise. But this is his son. So Gideon always mocks him by calling him Scamzito, which he really don't like that. It's like Spanish for saying little scam. He don't like it. But I have to lead you up to this. So anyway, they on this big mission all together where Scams told them, we got to get this briefcase from these people over here in Cuba, and that they travel to Europe. And then they traveling all over to get these people. And they went through some crazy stuff to get it, and fierce battles and gunfights and everything. In the end, they got the suitcase that's supposed to have all this money, stocks, bonds, all this stuff. Now, here's where the Rolex come into play. Like I said, I'm not going to give you the whole book, but I'm going to give you this thing. I just like this one little page about a Rolex watch that caught my attention. It will catch yours too. So anyway, so they finally get what they came there for and fought and lost men for and all this. They finally get it. When they get the book, now I'm going to read this verbatim so you can understand what I mean by Rolex. Verbatim, meaning word from word, exactly how it's written. Check this out. So when they finally got the suitcase, it's not long. Scams has said, he had said, we bloody failed. And then Gideon said, how did we fail? And Scams responded, he said, it's not as much money as I thought would be here. And then Gideon responded and said, because remember, he don't like Scams. So when Scams so upset, saying, it's not all the money that was supposed to be here. That's when Gideon, he reached in his pocket to grab his Rolex watch. Now remember, he really don't like Scams. He reached in his pocket, grabbed his Rolex watch that he bought in Puerto Rico for $20,000. $20,000 watch. So since Scams is going on and on yelling that this ain't enough money, this ain't what we thought it was. But remember, Scams a millionaire. So when he reached in his pocket to grab his Rolex, he threw it at Scams. He threw it. He said, "Hey, here, take this. This should make up for the remainder of the money that you say that's not there." And when Scams caught it, immediately what went through the way he looked at the watch, immediately what went through Gideon's mind is exactly what he knew what was going through Scam's mind. And what was going through his mind, I'm going to read it. What he said was, remember, he threw the $20,000 watch at him. So now, what's going through his mind is other watches. Pardon me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, but these are actual facts. You can look these things up. So now, what's going on in his mind is a Petit Philippe Sky Moon Tourbillon. That's the name of a watch. It costs $1.5 million for this doggone watch. A Vacurian Constantine Tour d'Ile costs about $2.5 million. A Hublot Black Caviar Bang was $1 million. And a Louis Monet Magistralis or Blanc Pang 1735 costs about $100,000 to $200,000 less. A Gerard Perigas Opera 3 costs $300,000. Now, compared with those watches, a Rolex watch didn't even get honorable mention. It was considered a cheap watch by any standards. A Rolex wasn't even considered expensive. It wasn't the priciest watch. It was actually considered, amongst people that wear those type of watches, a Rolex was considered low class, an opportunist watch, the type of watch that uneducated rappers wore them, trying to show off. That said a lot there. The Rolex has been in my pocket while I battled my way out of the villa. While he was fighting, the watch was on him. So the whole time, my point was mention this about a Rolex watch. You see how I love that? Let me say that part again. A Rolex was, compared to those other watches I just mentioned to you, and for the viewing audience, I assure you, I implore you, look up those watches I said. Pardon me if I pronounced them wrong. I'm pretty sure I did. But like I said, compared to those other watches I named, a $20,000 Rolex watch was considered low class. It was just an opportunist class. It was for the uneducated rappers who wore those to try to impress others that don't know anything about real watches. So you understand what I'm talking about? How people are so quick to think that a Rolex is really worth something. Yeah, $20,000 is a lot to a person that ain't got that. But to someone who's educated and know what things cost, you know, you would say, Rolex, that's a low class watch. That ain't nothing to be impressed about. But people that don't know, they think that's a big deal. Now, me personally, I'm not impressed by any of those watches I mentioned, nor a Rolex. Not that I got money for those type of things, but what I am saying, I don't get intrigued by something that this Western colonizing world put a value on it because they say it's of value. I don't care about that. See, that's what identifies me, and that's what makes me who I am. I don't care that they put a value and say this is what it's worth. You get what I'm saying? But I thought I'd give y'all just that little small education about a Rolex watch, because as you can see, that Rolex watch don't even get honorable mention compared to these other watches. And remember, you got watches that cost even more than that. Now, if you think about it, you go, why is these watches so expensive? Can they travel to the future? Can they make me bulletproof or something like that? No. Can they make me a superhero? No. You know why? Because whoever made it said it cost this much. Oh, it was handcraft. Oh, so what? If you see these watches, it'll even blow your mind. You'll be like, it's a regular looking watch. Why did it cost $1.5 million? That's crazy. Remember the watch that Mayweather bought? They said it was like $18 million or something like that. I don't know how true that was, but that was ridiculous. And y'all all know how 50 Cent do. When he bought the watch, 50 Cent said, they finally got some fool to buy this watch. Like, because you know how 50 do, he throws shots at people all the time. But my whole thing is, I just like to educate people with stuff. You know, for other people that don't do a lot of reading, I always encourage reading. So I'm going to finish this video. in closing, what I would say to y'all, always read. Even in reading, you could find out things and travel. Remember like that old show when we was kids, The Reading Rainbow? Take a look, it's in a book, The Reading Rainbow. You know, you could travel through a book. Sometimes you could find stuff out in a book. It will make, when the author, the writer, is so good with their writing, in this case, Eric Jerome Dickey, it'll make you feel like you're there. And when he did that whole story about the Rolex, I was like, holy smokes, the Rolex is garbage compared to these other watches, based on what they standards of what value is. You know, in the future, I'm gonna do another video talking about value and who puts value on stuff. I'm gonna title that one Fiat. Y'all gonna like that. I'm gonna put it together, and that one's gonna piggyback off this. But in closing, I would just let y'all know, subscribe, share, like, and comment. And I hope y'all appreciate this one. I'm gonna title it Rolex Watch. And y'all, peace.